The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
And it's another wonderful day at the headquarters of Technical Trading and Investing, TFNN.com. I'm your lovable and squeezably soft host, David White. And on a fairly quiet day so far, probably going to see some fireworks before the end of the day. We have a light volume pop, and when I say light volume, we're just turning 2 billion shares on the consolidated New York Stock Exchange tape today. And seeing some stocks kind of moving up and down. Not a lot of volume so far today. We're going to have to really watch the close to see whether we get a close above 1650. Of course, a lot of people sitting on the sidelines today waiting for Ben Bernanke's testimony tomorrow and speech. And at that point, probably going to see a great deal more of what's going on in this market. Probably the most important thing today is that the market is, or at least the S&P, is headed up a little higher and ignoring the dollar. The current dollar index is at $84.86, up another 45 cents. We're seeing a fairly decent move in this dollar, and pretty surprising that it really hasn't come out and snapped this market back into at least some level of reliability. But I'm seeing stocks right now, more stocks being tested with lighter volume than any time over the last year. So we are having light volume pushes to these upper moves in the market, and it's going to be interesting. What do we have in gold? Up $8.60 at $1,243.50. We've got a little bit of other movements. Silver's up 10 cents at $19.12. We've got platinum up $7.20. Crude 103.40 up 26 cents. And just the rest of it's going to be kind of interesting in the fact that we've got the S&P moving up and a few other things going on. Probably the most interesting thing I thought out here today so far in stocks is FedEx. FedEx was a nice, huge pop-up. And that pop-up is coming on a volume today, 10 million shares. Which is very interesting so far. This thing, it did gap down back on the 20th of March. It came down with 11.5, I'm going to call it 11.6 million shares that day. We are closing that gap, and it looks to me with 2 hours that you should at least match that gap. We've got a activist investor, Ackman, out there pushing for a stake in this company, Bill Ackman from Pershing Square Capital. And he says, well, at least the rumor is he's raising funds for a stake in the company. And I think there were a lot of shorts in the stock. I actually have a good friend that works for FedEx. And, of course, he tells me a lot of stuff going on in the company, but they're always trying to or telling them how bad business is overseas, and that they're going to have to make cuts here so that they can continue to do what is the most profitable thing for FedEx, which is international deliveries. But a whole lot more people not using a FedEx over the last year, especially internationally, using less expensive services, trying to cut costs. And we'll still see that, but very interesting to see this thing back in here. One of the other big movers out here was Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. We had a phone call some time ago about either going long or short this. And I said the big problem is on this one is it's one of these stocks that only moves on the news, and then you really don't get a chance. After the bell last night, of course, they came out and pre-announced some numbers, and, of course, no one liked it, and it was down severely. What do I have for it right now? I think I had it up here. ISRG. Just get a quick quote just so I have it. Yeah. Off at $93.23, which is 18%, 18.6% off today. Of course, a volume is absolutely massive. We've talked about this company before, and probably the big problem it has going forward is nationalized health care that we are getting. And one of the problems was that they make a great deal of money off of their Da Vinci machines. One, it's getting a little bit of saturated, and two, the government doesn't quite like what doctors are charging, and Intuitive Surgical itself. They originally did some shots across the bow with malpractice in using their machines. I just recently had my knee operated on, much better than the previous 2 times when they did it by hand. But it is one of these areas of, I'm going to equate it to the coal part of the energy spectrum out here. The current government hates it. And thinks that it should be a whole lot less expensive. In the aspect of coal, they think it shouldn't exist at all. And if you mind it to rip and bad, we don't want you doing it. And we started seeing the huge move off of the 585 high earlier this year, which is a February 1st high. And this thing basically consolidated sideways for a long time, but really didn't get an opportunity to figure out, when I look at this, you see this movement for probably the last 2.5 weeks, and I could have probably flipped a coin either way if this was going to be one of these going left and right. It could have gone up or down. Was it consolidation? Was it, distribution? And to tell you the truth, I had a hard time telling which way this thing was going to break. First, I figured long-term the path was still down, but what could they report? Anyway, down monstrous volume, and if we look back a little bit farther in this stock, we are back into these monstrous gaps. That gap started on the October 19th of 2011, and it's just 1.4 million shares. So probably not going to find a monstrous amount of support until we, you get into that 402 area, and you're probably going to find this thing just ran through it all. But you still have a high volume move. What is that? 470. So you're pretty much into this thing and into that gap. It did gap up on 1.4 million shares. And do you really just have anything else back below it? The answer is not a whole lot. This thing actually did have some nice volume on the way back up, but we'll be watching that one closely. In the play for the rest of the market out here, we looked at FedEx, Siri, Intuitive Surgical, MyPel, AKL, Allegiant, APUDAX. Overseas, the FTSE was up 1%, Germany DAX 1.1%, France's CAC up 0.5%, Spain flatter closer. I think maybe Spain and Portugal will close. I'm showing flat here. Italy off just 0.1%. Irish stock index up 0.6. Greece, of course, looking like it's headed back into the sea, down 2.3% today again. But just to see if there's anything else out here. Nothing at the moment. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this. We've got these markets trying to push higher. And what do we have out here? Yeah, up at the highs, pretty much at the highs of the day, 1653, 2.1 billion shares on the consolidated cash, and just another light volume move in these markets. So we've got kind of a little move out here that would make you think maybe gold has made a short-term bottom out here, and a lot of movement in the dollar. And some of the other moves out here, very interesting. But let's go ahead and look at some of these stocks that have been testing their highs with lighter volume, and see how these things have been working. Come on, load. There we go. ADM. Let's see what this thing is doing here today. This one looked like it was starting to break out. Not a lot of volume out here today in this one. We're looking at the last major high of May 17th, 6.2 million shares. We had 2.8 million shares yesterday, 2.4 so far today. Energy on the way up, not all that bad. It's just on the break of these highs, you normally want to do it within 3 days and have some kind of sign of strength, which means a big candle and a volume. We are getting neither on ADM. Cerner was also another one that caught my eye. This has been more likely the scenario over the last few days, and that is these stocks testing highs on lighter volume are rolling over fairly quickly. The June 7th high on Cerner Corporation, symbol is CERN, at $50 on June 7th, 2.1 million shares, got through it on 1.2 million shares by a dime. And basically rolled over that same day, gave you a reversal signal back down, and looks to me like it's headed right back down to the $46.51 low on June 24th. Volume really hasn't picked up that much, so you're kind of in like a $3.50 trading range. But a lot of these stocks at these highs looking kind of weak. Another one which was kind of interesting to me in the game sector out here, since we've been talking a lot about GameStop, the Xbox One, that kind of stuff. This thing's been hanging out at the June 10th high, $23.66, 6.1 million shares, and we got into it and reversed back off of that high, went above it, closed below it, 3.8 million shares. And this thing could probably easily come back to that $19.50 range. There's a nice little gap down there that's going to act as support. You had 22 million shares on that gap up day of May 8th, and this thing probably looks like it's run out of steam, probably ready to come back to that level on light volume. Might set up a nice little trade from 19.5 back up to probably 23.5, 24. Let's see, Goodyear Tire, which you don't see a lot of action in the tire business in the stock market, but this one was very interesting to me. $16.06, May 30th, 10 million shares. So what do we have the last couple of days as we're going through this high? 5 million shares yesterday, 2.2 million shares so far today. We will be back in just a minute. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. I appreciate your phone calls and your listenership. We'll be back in just a minute.
The Art of Timing the Trade Charts has officially launched at TFNN. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind software, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, butterflies, ABCs, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the market for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, and even months searching to find. As part of our introductory pricing, we're offering licenses available at only $59 per month. We're so confident that you'll love this new outstanding piece of charting software that we'll even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Lock in your low price today by ordering your copy at TFNN.com.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pezzamento, Andy Hecht, Victor Jones, or Daryl Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments. And whether you're bullish or bearish on U.S. Treasuries, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
McEwen Mining is a high-growth, mid-tier producer in the Americas with a market capitalization of $1 billion. Experienced mining executive Rob McEwen, as chairman, CEO, and president, owns 25% of the outstanding shares of McEwen Mining and has put in place an ambitious business plan with the goal of qualifying for inclusion in the S&P 500 by 2015. With $70 million in cash and liquid assets as of the end of 2012 and completely debt-free, McEwen Mining is poised for growth. Production in 2013 is forecasted to grow at 24%, reaching 130,000 gold equivalent ounces. And over the next 3 years, McEwen Mining projects that their production will increase to 290,000 gold equivalent ounces, almost a threefold increase from last year's totals. If you'd like to find out more about McEwen Mining, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE or TSX under the symbol MUX.
Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And the saying is, let sleeping dogs lie, and boy, do I have a couple of them around me today. And still trying to come up with a name for the new one here, my new pound-and-a-half terrier mix, and thinking about Coco, black with a little bit of white, kind of looks like a gray in the beard and right around the eyes, and on the front inside of each leg. So kind of interesting coloring, but they've been chasing each other around. Good and asleep now, but you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648 and give me a better name than Coco, or maybe even talk about stocks on a quiet day out here where we're not too far off the highs of the market with almost no volume yet again. So going to be very interesting how we close the day out here today. One of the stocks that we've been following lately had been Apple. It had gone just a little bit more than a Gartley pattern and kind of stuck around this 420 level as we speak today. It's at 422. Starting to get a little push on it, not unbelievable, coming into a options expiration segment where a lot of people tend to buy downside protection that eventually goes south on them. What can you say about it? It's up about $7 today. About a little over 8 million shares so far. But of course, it was down at 4:10 earlier in the morning. So this thing does have the ability to move rather quickly. I thought maybe we were setting up some kind of ABC in this, but it looks more like sideways, and of course not any kind of the volume that you would think that really makes this thing look like there's a big fire under it. but kind of a little fire under it. But not a bad looking chart. What I dislike is that we had at 385, 21 million shares back on the what is that, April 19th level, and 388.87. So $3.80 or so, $3.70 to go test that low with $1 million off. Probably the best thing would be to wait for this thing to one more time, test that 388, 385 level, get back into that gap that pretty much runs from 380 to 387 that has been acting support. Not a bad-looking chart. Certainly wouldn't be shorting this thing, but it looks like even with today's little bounce, this thing probably maybe goes sideways through expiration, maybe down in through August, and maybe you get one more test out here with a light volume with that 388 on the handle. So what else do we have going on in here? Wanted to just take a quick look. Tech's still pretty much the weakest sector. IBM, we've been talking about that one for a little while. Looks like they're planning on making their numbers by firing a whole lot more people. I think that news made the rounds yesterday and last night. There was a pretty severe downgrade about IBM going forward. This thing did test its previous low, just like Apple did. This time the volume was just a skosh higher. People don't use skosh enough in everyday language anymore. In fact, the last time you heard it was always about the Skoal Bandit chewing tobacco. Just a skosh between your cheek and gums. Oh, what a disgusting, horrible habit. Anyway, this thing didn't quite touch its low either. Volume was just slightly higher. So a pretty good indication this thing at least wants to get back to that 188.41 level. And talking to somebody last night, my inside Far East Asian source from India, who had been gone for about 4 weeks and just had gotten back, was pretty much filling me in on all things India and the way things are working over there lately. But he said basically that he had to spend a lot of time educating the IBM folks on their products to help some of his customers, which I thought was very interesting. But we talked a little bit about IBM firing a bunch of people secretly over the last month and how their union basically had to put it on their website for anybody to know about it over the weekend, that they've, 3,200, 3,500 people over the last month that they're continuing to get rid of. And my thought is going to be doing that to make their numbers. Anyway, 188 is out there. We'll be back in a minute.
With the stock market flirting with all-time highs and volatility back, now is the perfect time for a 2-week free trial to Market Insights. On Monday, June 24th, Tom O'Brien closed out all 5 open positions in his daily newsletter, Market Insights, with all trades being profitable and ranging from a 2.23% gain all the way to more than an 11% gain in just one position for an incredible 32.7% profit combined between the 5 trades. Let Tom O'Brien's years of market experience work for you. If you'd like to see for yourself what kind of trading newsletter Tom O'Brien delivers to his clients each morning, then now is a perfect time to sign up for a 2-week free trial to his daily newsletter, Market Insights. In a volatile market like we currently have, the potential for fast market moves like we've seen recently is a trader's dream. So don't wait any longer. Sign up for your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today at the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Harmony Gold. For more information, just click the Harmony Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, 2.2 billion shares. So volume, doing okay for the first 30 minutes. With, of course, a little bit of action out here. Almost always during this period, you have a little bit up, a little bit down, and then we start seeing the real action in the last 30 minutes of the day. One of the charts I would love for you to take a look at right now is the TNA. It's direction small cap bull 3X shares. And I almost feel like I should say this like in French. The directione, or maybe Spanish. Maybe that's Spanish lingo. Directione, small cap bull 3X shares, the TNA. Well, you're going to have to worry about how you say that, too. Anyway, there was which reminds me of a road that I thought people were always cussing me at where I used to live. And there was a road called F and a road called T. And they would blur it together. And it would be the F and T if you think about it. But anyway, small cap bull 3X shares. I was sure they were cussing at me the first time I heard someone saying that. Anyway, direction small cap bull X shares. We were looking at the last major high. This thing flipped and rotated back over, and that was on the May 22nd high, $52.69, 14 million shares. We are cresting that today with a 6.4 million shares so far. It has not closed back below it. But I think you could use this as one of the most interesting charts out here, in that, of course, it always has a lot of action in it. But this thing pretty much straight up from $42.58, which was a high volume low out here on June 24th. So would suggest that we are going to test that June 24th low sooner rather than later. As we look at the market, just kind of floundering around here a little bit. We looked at Apple and IBM. Google would be another interesting one. This thing had made up a very dangerous pattern and then come out of it. It's kind of actually getting into that same kind of thing out here today. But back up at testing its last major high. If you pushed it, you could call this thing a Gartley, but I think that the A to B ratio is a little bit too long for what I like, unless it goes into maybe a butterfly. But at this moment, what I'm actually seeing in this thing is these three major last highs. It still hasn't tested the high from May 20th, $920.60. 3.9 million shares. Tried to get in at 910 on June 19th with 3 million shares, but today just 1.6 million shares so far, 1.7. So we are coming into these major highs on extremely lighter volume, and I think a lot of people in Wall Street are betting that Bren Bernanke will walk away from what he has said over the last month, and we'll probably know that tomorrow. So, of course, tomorrow being Weird Wally Wednesday, when the market makers go delta neutral, will be telling us a great deal about this market, what we should see from here on. But certainly not a lot of volume. Certainly a lot of stocks looking like they're close to failing, IBM and some of these others. I haven't looked at Facebook in a while. Did want to get to it. This thing had gotten down to 22.67. I suspected this thing was making some kind of ABC, and when we look at it, do I even have one? What is that? 29.07. When we look at the last ABC in this, you've got basically 43% retraced and a little pop-up on no volume today. The question is whether or not you'd want to take a stab at this one. And, to tell you the truth, we haven't talked enough about this lately on this move back up, but we're starting to see them now. And, in fact, I'm probably going to put this out in a email today about how to look for confluence and what to look for confluence. But if you have the art of timing the trade charts, this is actually one you should look at very closely. And that is exactly what a confluence is. And really kind of beautiful. You have incredible energy down over the last two moves down from the $32.51 high. If you look at my power law vector indicator, both the ratios are 16. This last leg up so far about an 8.1. Now, where would you like to actually take this thing and start putting an ABC down together? This thing could roll over at any point, but your best risk reward is going to be, probably in this one, is going to be a confluence. Confluence is the Fibonacci ratios between two moves that share 1 point. In this case, you call it a focus point, but it's $22.67. It is the June 6th low, and that is a pretty nice little setup out here. But what it does do is you take the 0.618 of one to 382 of the other move, and you're going to see, just if you're watching on Tiger TV, a very narrow move out here. If you've got Tom's book, you really want to look at it. But you've got $26.43 to $26.63. And this is a great trade if you can get it close to that level. You still don't get any volume. You can put your trade in there, short this thing for an ABC down, and put your stop just on the other side on the belief that if it breaks that, it's probably going up to $29. But this is exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for two moves. They're going to roughly come at the same kind of time frame. In this case, we're talking about the end of May for the last major high, and then the previous, they actually call them nodes. So the first node is $32.51 back here at the January 28th high. Then they have the May 3rd high, which is the first node. And you've put those together, the 382 of one to the 618 of the other, and you're going to see that very, very narrow 20-cent move out here. In fact, it's exactly 20 cents out here. Perfect for what we're looking at in the confluence. And I don't think we probably talked about that enough, mostly because we haven't had a lot of these kind of moves. But stocks like Intuitive Surgical, other things like that, are going to start lining up like this when they've come back down. And if you've got still a high volume low out here that hasn't been tested, also a nice thing. But on a bounce, and if you go back to the Art of Timing the Trade Charts book, this is an excellent one to be looking at just because the volume was very strong in the last two legs down. So far, we're looking at the same thing, which is a leg up here that had one day with a lot of volume and out without a whole lot of movement. You're basically getting up to the 618 retracement, and you want to pull your trigger and put your stop just on the other side of that. So it would be very, very interesting. So what else do we have out here? Oh, let me write that down. 6 months, because this is going to be a good example. Whether it works out or not, this is exactly what you're looking for. The real nice thing is the very tight risk reward. Confluence. Okay. So, what else do we have out here in Stockland that is? Well, I wanted to get to some of these others. Let me take a look real quick. Somehow I have a feeling a lot of times when I click this mouse button, I must have a bunch of junk in it and need to get back at it. Another one that's moving kind of interestingly off the highs out here was MU. This thing had been pretty much impervious. Again, when we're starting to talk about moving some of these stocks back to confluence levels, this is not a bad setup either out here. Let's see if we can't go. If we go to 1 year out here, that's probably the better looking one of these levels. But we are starting to see some of these move out. Let me see if I can't. Go ahead and do that. That's probably pretty accurate here. And another great one. Oh, I'm going to have to write all these down. I forgot about looking at a lot of these. 1 year. Okay. But MU Micron Technologies, some people came out and said some negative things about them. Of course, a lot of these other stocks, Intel, also showing some weakness in these moves out here. But we are coming down. We are coming down with volume. And we're going to probably start seeing some of these that have had nice runs come back, at least start off. Now, this one has $11.16 to $10.99. So you got about, 17 cents? Pretty good setup out here for what you know, what you're looking for. So we'll continue to talk about confluence levels on some of these stocks as the market does more rotation than anything lately. Of course, we are at some levels, like I said, where we've had more stocks testing highs on significantly lighter volume than any time in the last year. One of the other ones I wanted to talk about was LinkedIn. This is another one that's coming up on very light volume. I think the earnings date is coming up fairly soon. Let me pop that up real quick. because I think it is August 2nd. So we're not that far away. So this thing may hang out a little bit longer, but it's not showing a great deal of strength and actually a little bit of weakness out here today. It came down on heavy volume. That was on May 3rd. It came down on 11.6 million shares. Tried to get back into it on the 15th of May with 3.8 million shares. Went back down to a low of 160.20 on June 5th. And we got up to 193.50 on July 8th with 1.5 million shares. So continue to see like 1/10 of the volume of that move down as we come in. This one's starting to rotate out of it just a little bit today. But probably have to see a whole lot. Probably a little too close to earnings, 2 weeks? This thing could pull back, and they'll probably ramp it into earnings. But look, probably into earnings as 193, 194 as being pretty solid resistance levels in this market. Wanted to see what else was moving. We had that. Let's see what else we have. Maybe on the positive side out here. See what we have going. Netflix up at $12 today, 5.5% in FLX, of course, earnings mid-August, I believe. Now, this one's coming up, and actually the volume is not too bad compared to the last previous high. This thing did exactly pretty much what you wanted it to do. Would have been nice if this thing came back just a little bit more. Took off with heavy volume on 423 of 16.4 million shares. Got up to 248.85. We are shy of that today by what? $1.80, $1.70, something like that. And when we are looking at that, what do we see? 4 million shares to 3.9 million shares. So if this thing hasn't tagged it, if this thing hasn't tagged it today, I expect this thing to tag it probably tomorrow. I mean, there's enough volume out there to look at it. Now, one of the things we do know is the last very two moves back up to the 347 level were fairly weak. So you'll have to take a look at it. Now, if you thought this thing was going to roll over, I'm still expecting one more gap up for this thing. But you'd probably want it to close under this 9-day moving average, and it's still fairly significantly above that. So not a real good, decent play out here, and pretty much did exactly what it was doing. Came back to 205, ran up to 247, and volume about the same, but I suspect we're probably going to see some movement on that tomorrow. Another one that was up above these highs that looks like it is failing is SunPower Corporation. SPWR is the symbol on this guy. We've got 12 million shares at the $23.76 high on May 21st. And, of course, 6 million shares. So one of these that just like all these stocks, like I said, we've got so many of these testing previous highs on extensively lighter volume. The June 8th high basically went above it, closed below it, and did it on half the volume. So this thing probably not really ready to give up the ghost, but watch for a close below that 9-day moving average for further weakness, or a 3x3 displaced moving average. So there's a cornucopia of stocks out here that are setting up and have tagged these highs with a much lighter volume. We're going to watch this market close out here today. It's going to be very instructive. But really, it's going to be all about Ben Bernanke. Was he just jawboning, or did he mean what he said a month ago? We'll be back in a minute.
Patterns, profits, and peace of mind.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's trading newsletter.
Patterns, profits, and peace of mind.
In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing, and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you the edge you've been looking for. Try patterns, profits, and peace of mind absolutely free for 2 full weeks. That's an $85 value. Yours free when you register right now.
Get Larry's patterns, profits, and peace of mind.
And get the edge you've been looking for.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, folks. I'm Steve Rhodes with TFNN.com, and the trend is your friend until it changes. A free special report is now available on the homepage of TFNN.com, and if you have money in the markets, this free report is a must. If your strategy is buy and hold, this report is a must. If you're a day trader, a swing trader, a Forex or options trader, or just getting into the markets, this report is a must. And it's the second best gift you'll ever receive. Look, if you buy a stock and the general market is trending in the other direction, you've reduced your odds of buying at the right time by 70%. Instead, let me teach you how to get that 70% advantage plus. The plus is a free trial to my daily newsletter service, Mastering Probability. There's no upfront deposit, no charge to your credit card, and I compress decades of education into each daily newsletter. This is a limited time offer, so act now, and I'll teach you how to take the trend and turn it into your best friend. All the details are on the homepage of TFNN.com. Act now.
Join Andy Hecht as he teaches you how to make money in commodities. The Commodities Hour, next on TFNN.
Oh boy, it's Disco Steve in there, and with so many good Rod Stewart songs, why did he have to pick that one? The horrible 80s. If a song really is a stinkburger, in the 80s, he will find it and play it. I was hoping, Downtown Train, what a great song. Gasoline Alley, just another one. Maggie May, how could you beat that? But yet he has to play Do You Think I'm Sexy? And I just don't know what goes through his mind. Anyway, looking at some other stocks out here, ServiceNow, kind of interesting. NOW is the symbol on this one. It had a nice little major high out here on April 25th, 6 million shares. It tagged it, went a penny above it, it's closed back below it, making a little hammer out here. Really hasn't shown a great deal of weakness out here other than a very light volume at these highs. seeing the futures pull back a little bit off of the highs. And I can imagine we could sell maybe into the close. Everybody trying to get out of the way of Bernanke's speech in the morning. I think the text of his speech is due out by 10 a.m. in the morning, so we're probably going to have a good idea what's going on here. But, we should be pressing 4.5 billion shares a day, and that's going to be a problem. ServiceNow provides cloud-based services to automate enterprise information technology operations worldwide. Let's go back and look at this volume just before the end of the day out here. We had a little spurt of volume kind of in the first half hour. Volume went extremely light. It was 2.4 billion shares. This is going to be a very light close out here if this continues. But coming a little bit off the highs. We're 2 points off the S&P high at 1652. But this is exactly where you need a sign of strength in the market. And we've seen some of these stocks roll off their highs very succinctly. Some of these high rollers, like X1 right now, thing did hit $75.37. Putting out a nice kind of little spinning top out here. It hasn't put in a low, but a lot of these stocks, for a stock that I like, they're right business, but a stock with $20 million in sales, maybe a little, maybe a lot ahead of itself. Unfortunately, I have a feeling this thing, when it's going to crash and it's going to ruin this stock for years to come. Could have been such a great stock, but the casino is still alive and well. Oh, we've got a call. Bob from Louisville. How you doing today, Bob?
I'm fine, David. How are you?
Great. We got 1 minute.
Hey, just wanted to ask you what your prognosis is on SLV for the short term.
I think we still have one more test of the low coming. And
Okay.
I think it's going to be a scary move. I'm watching this dollar index, watching the EUO, EUO. Everything to me says that we could have, an easy run up to that $88, $89 level, and I don't see any reason to get in front of that freight train. At best, you go sideways. At worst, you get a huge hammer down when the dollar moves $2 in a day. And I think that may be what it takes to put a bottom in on gold and silver.
Okay.
And I think, everything looks to me like, there's zero fear. They've called Bernanke's bluff. Tomorrow he has to either say, I'm lying, I didn't mean it, or else. And I have a feeling he's going to say, hey, I meant it. Dollar's going to move another buck or two over the next couple of days, and we're going to see the next hammer down and try to make a low in these gold and silver stocks and in the miners too. See you tomorrow. Same
Thanks,
bat
Dave.
channel.
Bye-bye.
Same bat time.